Chicago, I'm just going to try one of the weird sodas that I bought in Oklahoma City the other day. So this one is pumpkin pie flavoured soda. Now I have no idea what it's going to taste like, but let's give it a go. It's not too weird actually. It's like a cinnamon kind of drink, I reckon. I'm deep into south side of Chicago, and there's a pretty legendary donut place down here, so I've gone to try it, and I've just got the original glazed. Interestingly enough, none of their stuff there was labelled, and there was a huge line, so I didn't have heaps of time to ask about the different flavours, so I just went for a classic original glazed. Looks delicious, it's quite big. So it has a similar texture to the Krispy Kreme. It's much bigger, and the pastries, the mixture is much tastier. So yeah, Dat Donut in south side of Chicago. One thing that you see a lot of when driving around the Midwest are these water towers, and they're often painted, at least with the town's name, which is very useful because you can know where you are, and then in some places they decorate them elaborately and make them very interesting, like the one here which is painted like a cow, so it's pretty cool. So I've got my trusty Triscuits here. Really got addicted to these last summer in the US. They're just like a stringy kind of waffly kind of dry cracker. And I'm gonna go try some smoked Gouda first. Triscuit, smoked Gouda in mouth. That's so Gouda. What's interesting about this cheese is it still has elements that's common with American cheeses, which is nothing to write home about because they're very unrecognisable as cheeses generally. But while they have a similar texture and they wouldn't be unfamiliar to an American palate, they're actually really tasty cheeses. They've got a great flavour and they taste a lot more like the cheese that we'd have at home. Particularly the Swiss. It's quite a sharp Swiss actually. So yeah, I'm just going to keep enjoying this cheese before I get back on the road. So I've made it to a town called West Lafayette, Indiana, and I'm coming to this here, which is called the XXX Family Diner. Now, you might think it's a bit of an odd name, but I think it's because there's a brand of root beer called XXX, so it's not actually dodgy, even though it sounds like it.
Some drink for you, hun?
Yeah, can I try one of the root beers? Thank you. Root beer is quite nice. It's got no caffeine in it, which is unusual for root beer, I think, as well. It's a local product, so good to try, I think. Despite its name, it was a really good experience. It's like a proper American diner. Really nice burger. The root beer was surprisingly palatable. I'm not a big root beer fan generally, but you know, when you're in a place that's named after the root beer that's made here, yeah, you got to try it. It was good. I'm in the beautiful little town of Zionsville, Indiana, which is just outside Indianapolis, and I'm here to go to a pie shop called My Sugar Pie. Indiana has a state pie called a sugar cream pie. I've made a version of it a few times at home and really enjoyed it, but I'm coming here to taste one of the state's best sugar cream pies, and yeah, I'm really excited. It's all gooey and custardy. I always like to describe it a bit like it's like an ice cream in a pie. Not quite as cold, but it's very nice. Sugar cream pie. The pie of Indiana. It's quite funny, everyone I mentioned to that I was going to Indianapolis and Indiana, they said, why? Well, pies and stuff, good there. And then at the comedy show I went to last night, I spent like 5 minutes on this whole thing, just bagging Indiana. If this place is anything to go by, Indiana's amazing. They must just be jealous. Driving the whole way here, as soon as I left Illinois, the scenery was beautiful and green and spectacular. Beautiful rivers, the towns and villages I've been through have been very well kept. I'm liking it so far. I've made it to Indianapolis, and one of the first places I stopped was a place called Locally Grown Gardens. Now, I'd heard that the pies there were pretty good. He didn't happen to have any pies today, but I had an amazing experience. He was such a friendly guy. He invited me in. We had a chat about AC/DC because, of course, they're Australian, and he made that connection. And then he wanted me to try some of the melons that he sells there, because it's also it's a shop that sells a bit of everything, bit of homewares and fresh produce that's available at the time. At the moment, there are some melons available. Apparently, Indiana is known for its melons and also tomatoes as they call them. And so I was going to just grab a little thing of cherry tomatoes, and in the end he said, nah, they're no good. And so he got out for me some amazing looking tomatoes, and they're like all like yellow and red kind of color mixed together, and huge, and like an ox heart kind of one. I've got a huge box here full of cantaloupe, which I don't normally like, but this is actually quite nice, funnily enough. He said, don't normally like it, but you should try this one. I'm glad he did, because this one's very nice. And then just as I was leaving, he gave me a huge bottle of water as well. I asked him how much I owed him, and he said I could have it for free. I insisted, but he said no, it's the Hoosier way. So this is the Hoosier state, they call it. Alright, so I've just gone into Long's Bakery. 84 cents for a donut. I got a they call a cinnamon fry, which is typically a cinnamon scroll, but it's glazed. Oh, this is my kind of donut. It's very light and juicy. It's a really nice flavour. And it's a cinnamon scroll as well. It's like a cinnamon scroll donut. It's not too big. It's tiny. It's not tiny, it's the right size. 84 cents. Alright, so I'm in downtown Indianapolis. I think this must be the state capital I've arrived at. It's quite exciting coming to a place like Indianapolis, because I actually don't know anyone else in Australia who's been to Indianapolis. Like, most people don't come here unless you're on the way through, and even then possibly not even stop. So it's a very nice city. I like it very much, and I think people should come and visit it. But it's always nice to go somewhere that other people haven't. This monument here behind me is really impressive. It's enormous. And it's right in the centre of the downtown area, and all the buildings sort of curve around it. It's pretty cool. One of the things you might be wondering, and it's something that I've wondered before, and so I did a bit of research into it, is why there are so many Union stations in America, and so why also they're funny names, like, for example, Penn Station in New York City or Grand Central, rather than calling them New York or, you know, Indianapolis or whatever. Well, in the boom time for the railroads in America, they're all private businesses, the different railways that were competing, and they really were competing. They would sometimes build the same lines between the same cities, just going a different route. Sometimes they even followed the same route and they'd go alongside of each other, and there's lots of places where you see that, just like you cross three train tracks and they're all owned by different companies. Anyway, Union stations were ones where all the companies used them, so it was like a union of railways, whereas something like Penn Station was only used by the Pennsylvania Railroad. So that's pretty cool. They've turned the old tracks into different kind of wings of the hotel, so they're kind of celebrating its railway history. So they've still got the track numbers and the different railroads that used to go on each track labelled, and they've still got the old stairs going up to each platform. But then when you get to the top, it's a hotel. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty good way of respecting the history of the building. Unlike a lot of Parks and Rec, the episode with the bachelor party in Indianapolis was filmed here. Behind me just here is the St. Elmo Steakhouse in Indianapolis. It's where Ron Swanson, it's one of his favourite steakhouses, and it's actually a real place here in Indianapolis. Indianapolis hasn't gone with the whole streetcar thing like a lot of the other small cities have, but they have gone with the funky canal idea and riverwalk system, which is quite pleasant. Come to this place, Fresco, Italian cafe on the canal, to try an Italian beef sandwich, which is an Indianapolis specialty. You need to get it dry or soaked, and I chose to get it wet, so it's already been had broth poured over it. There's a bit extra if I want. It was probably enough in there, but yeah, very interesting. It's a very wet sandwich, but very tasty. Very nice, nice filling. And chili. So, some Italian beef.